Welcome to yet another Vassals of Kingsgrave. I'm Vikram. I go by as Fortytwo on the forums, and this week we are going to discuss and review Netflix original series, The House of Cards. Joining me for this podcast are Peter,
This is Peter. I'm Shellfish on the forums.
FT Ward,
I am Thomas. I'm FT Ward.
Michael,
Hi, I'm Mordian on the forums.
and Bina.
This is Bina 007 on the forums.
Hey guys, how's your weekend so far?
Very cold.
Yeah,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
bad. It dropped 60 degrees here in a day,
Oh wow.
but not nearly as cold as Minnesota, of course.
This is my third podcast this weekend.
Oh wow.
Yeah. You and Bina are raking up quite a count. Bina's on 30 podcasts now, and I think you were on 17 or something.
Because evidently it's a competition and I'm winning.
Uh,
I've
So
decided to do this whole podcast in the manner of Francis Urquhart.
oh, you mean Francis Underwood?
Well, let's not get into that.
So, listeners, you're in quite a good hands because we have the really quite a great group of experts here on U.S. Constitution. Nobody outside here knows anything more than us do. I mean, these guys make Nate Silver look like idiots. Not really. I myself didn't know what the difference between a majority whip and a majority leader was until 10 minutes ago.
But that, to me, is the key failing of the show, that people can watch it for 2 seasons and not get that difference.
Uh-huh.
Well, it's not educational.
Yeah, but the point is that you're meant to be seeing the political machinations and maneuverings of an evil genius through the
I
parliamentary
just like it when it eats ribs. I like ribs too.
Yeah, I mean, I have the feeling that you don't know how a warp reactor works to enjoy Star Trek, right? I mean, so you know, you
Yeah,
guys.
but
That's
the whole point of
Perfect
House of
comparison.
Cards is to know about the evil. It's kind of like it's exposing the evil genius of modern politics. Well, that's what it's meant to be doing anyway.
yeah. I think the role they picked for him of being the majority whip, I think that's the wrong one. They should have made him a majority leader. That would have made most sense, I think.
I don't know. I think having him down like around third in command is really more the appropriate place for him to have been.
You
Very
think
much
so?
power behind the power kind of a thing.
And it gives him more sort of, I guess, more time to sort of claw and scratch his way up the top.
Yeah, it gives him more elbow room, not as much time, with press or whoever bothering him or looking at him and things like that.
Okay. I didn't think of it like that. In the BBC show, so Bina, I was quite surprised to find that the term whip is also used in the British parliamentary system also. So what does the whip mean? Is whip the leader of the party in the House? I think that's the Prime Minister, right?
Yeah, I mean, the British system's a very concentrated system of power, so the Prime Minister really does hold all the cards, unlike the presidential system in the US where, you may not control Congress. And the chief whip has 2 functions. Number one, he enforces discipline, and it's real discipline. Like, he can eject you from the party. So if you don't vote the way he wants you to vote, you will no longer be a Republican or a Democrat. And in the US, they don't have that power, so they have less power. And the other key difference is that the chief whip in the UK is parliamentary secretary of the Treasury, so he also gets a seat in cabinet. So he actually has a lot more voice in the cabinet than the US equivalent would have. So I would say that he probably is equivalent maybe to the majority leader, or in terms of power, he ranks higher than the whip would in the US. And certainly chief whips in the UK have exercised at points even greater power than the Prime Minister. I mean, it's a very powerful position here.
Yeah, from what I read, I think they have some disciplinary powers, but it's mostly like who gets to sit in what committee or something like that. I don't think they're powerful enough to kick somebody out of the parliament or something. Sorry, the House of Representatives.
I guess I always thought that he was kind of like a Tom DeLay character, which might not mean anything to people out of the country.
I know who that is.
Yeah, he's in
I know
Texas.
who that is.
So Denny Hastert was the actual majority leader, but generally it was thought that Tom DeLay had all the power, and that Denny Hastert was just kind of a more palatable face for the Republican Congress at the time. But that's kind of always why I thought he was the whip as opposed to the majority leader. But I think in Congress it's a position where you can have more power, and the majority leader could be just kind of the face often. I don't know if that's always the case or not.
Yeah, I'm going to read out all the positions that are listed in the House.gov's leadership page. So you obviously have the Speaker of the House, and then for each party you have Majority Leader, Majority Whip, then you have Democratic or Republican Conference Chairman or Chairwoman, and then you have the Policy Committee Chairman. Actually, on the Democratic side, it's slightly different. It says Assistant Democratic Leader and then Democratic Caucus Chairman. So just like quite a few positions, and basically all of them read alike. All of them help with the party in the House and stuff like that. Yeah.
But it's a key contrast because there just are far more positions in the US. There's just a bigger government, and so in the UK where it's just an old boys network, and there's like 3 or 4 people who really, the concentration of power means that the stakes are much higher in the UK version of House of Cards, I think, a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's different in India depending on what party is in power. Each party has its own organizational structure. So like the Communist Party of India has something called Politburo.
You guys still have a Communist Party?
We have. They only come up. They've been consistently holding on to like 3-4 seats in the parliament consistently for years on end. But I'm proud to say we have a Communist Party.
It's hilarious.
Yeah. Before we get on and talk about the show in general, just want to talk about this show is very popular. I mean, we have people from all over the place, watching it. I mean, there are reports that the show is enjoyed by Chinese Communist Party members also. And I was kind of thinking, what other country could have done this show that's so rooted in the politics and stuff and still be interesting, right? I mean, I would think if this is like an Indian show, nobody would care. And I'm sorry to say for any Australians out there, if this show was Australian or Canadian, I'm sure nobody would care. I'm sorry, I didn't mean any offense by that, but I'm just saying if this was a show about Canada, I would not probably be watching it.
Yeah. I mean, part of that just got to be, U.S. media saturation anyway, right? Like everybody's, when they watch whatever action movies or whatever, it's always, the U.S. president is the one who's, bombing things or whatever. And so I feel like that's got to be part of it, right? Is that there's a very, maybe pretty vague, but sort of an underlying familiarity to the U.S. political stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I was also thinking I can watch a Chinese version of House of Cards. That would be very interesting, I think. Would you guys find a Chinese one interesting also?
Yeah, I mean, I think, not if it was in Mandarin, probably, but...
Yeah, Chinese would be interesting. I wouldn't probably care about Russian. Probably I care about Russia now, but the Ukraine thing. But probably if any other time, I wouldn't care about a Russian House of Cards also.
Yeah, I think Russia's pretty much accurate, right? They just kind of frame and arrest people that are kind of political opponents, just like in House of Cards. So I don't know there'd be much difference.
Yeah, the Chinese one would be interesting with all those kangaroo coats and stuff.
But did you guys did any of you watch the UK equivalent?
I watched about half of it 3 years ago or something, but so I'm going to say no.
I have not, but I plan on it.
It's just 3 episodes, right?
Yeah, I watched just 3 episodes of the first season in preparation for this thing. Pretty good. Bina, can you spoil me? So in the end, does he become the queen?
The book is very different from the TV show, but yeah, I won't spoil you because it's good. You guys should watch it, definitely.
I will watch it.
Oh yeah, so this Netflix original is based on the British show House of Cards, which in turn is based on a book by Michael Dobbs of the same name, which in turn is based on a caveman painting showing a caveman stabbing another caveman in the back. Okay, so let's start talking about the show. Your lemon cake rating, and if you can give your lemon cake ratings for each season, that would be great. Peter, what would be your rating?
I think I'd probably rate the second season a bit higher because that's sort of where the big moment happens. So I guess I would give it probably a 4 and maybe 3 for the first season.
Oh wow, okay. Thomas?
I guess I like the first season more, so I'd give like the first half of the first season like a 5. The first season overall made like a 4.5, and then I guess the series overall like a 4.
Michael?
I also like the first season better. I say the first season's probably a pretty solid 4, maybe 4.25, something like that. And the second season more like a 3.5.
Bina?
I would give the first season 3. And then I think I got over the fact that it wasn't the UK version, and I actually enjoyed the second season more, and partly because it had the payoff that the first season should have had in it. So maybe a 4.
Yeah. I enjoyed the first season a bit more than the second season. I think the first season, it kind of just showed him his background a bit more, like he went back to his old college when they were naming the library after him. The thing about the Peach Oil, the water tank thing, that was a funny episode also. So I just thought just the settings and everything were a bit more varied during the first season than the second one. But I would say like 4.5 for the first season and 4 for the second season. Both were really good.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that him going back to his hometown. I think that's probably one of my favorite moments in the first season, when he's giving the speech in the church and he's like talking about his father, like why was he taking so early, and then he's like the aside glance, and it's like probably a good thing that he died so young. He didn't have much going for him anyway.
Yeah. Does anybody get a feeling that his father might have molested him when he was a kid or something like that?
I think he maybe was abusive in some way. I don't.
Yeah, maybe abusive.
Yeah.
It's just that the scene where he spends at the house of Raymond Tusk, he wakes up in the middle of the night with sweats and stuff like that. And when he hears somebody walking around and things like that, so I'm thinking that's probably had to do something from his childhood. And he does mention that he did not have a happy childhood.
I'm interested in the British version. Does the main character address the camera? Or is that something that...
Yeah, that's the big thing, right, from the British version.
It's huge because the Michael Dobbs who wrote the novel was obsessed with Shakespeare's take on politics, and his intention for the TV show was for Francis Urquhart to talk to camera in the way that a Shakespearean actor would give a soliloquy. So it was a huge part of it. And Ian Richardson, basically, who played Francis Urquhart, said he played it like Richard III, like a classic sort of evil villain from Shakespeare.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah, I was going to ask what the deal was, looking at the camera and talking to it directly. The show, it's like, for me, it's like a natural progression of what we see with these flawed protagonists that's become common these days between Don Draper and Walter White, and you know, they're all shades of gray, but with Francis, it's like he's completely dark. There's no good in him, right? Or do you guys think when he says evil for the greater good or bad for the greater good, do you guys believe him, or is this just his, ambition?
I mean, I have a hard time believing him. Partly, I mean, I suppose that the show's not really about trying to govern. I mean, it's about trying to get into the position of power. But I mean, he's never seemed to show really any interest whatsoever in trying to accomplish something outside of raising his own power profile.
Yeah, I guess that might be what he tells himself, that he's doing it for the greater good, but it's just power hunger stuff, I think. But I'm not sure about being sort of pure black evil in this case and not having any shades of grey, because correct me if I'm wrong, Bina, but I've heard that in the UK show he's sort of more cruel for cruelty's sake, and they're sort of giving him some sympathetic traits in the US version.
Yeah, I mean, I think Francis Underwood is a much more nuanced character in that sense. Francis Urquhart does not believe it's power for the greater good. He just wants power because he's pissed off that sort of younger, sleeker men have got it ahead of him, and there is no sense that he thinks he's going to do the right thing once he gets it. With Francis Underwood, I'm not sure. I think we have yet to see. And the thing about the second season that really surprised me was you got the impression that he really does love his wife, and he was making decisions that were kind of anti his own political interests, but to help her. And there was a kind of a shade of goodness there in some way, I felt.
Actually, that's interesting because the first thing this is the pilot episode. This is like the first episode we see, and within the first 5 minutes, he kills a dog. That's the dog that gets run over by a car, and and he gives a spiel about there are two kinds of pain, and he kills it. So I thought the U.S. version he's a much more darker than the British version.
No way. The stuff he does in the UK version is just hideous compared to what he does in the US version.
Yeah, I don't think he's evil per se. He's just kind of amoral. I don't think Frank is. I mean, he loves his wife, but
You mean
I assume Hitler loves Eva Braun too. So I don't think it's not really to me matters whether he loves his wife or not.
Yeah, I don't think loving his wife is necessarily makes him evil or makes him not evil if he is evil otherwise. Yeah, but I mean, one thing is that I don't think that he's generally. I mean, he's not sadistic, right? Like it's not like I don't think that he does a lot of things where he's trying to hurt someone for no reason. Like it's all after some sort of purpose.
Yeah, when he killed Peter Russo and also Zoe Barnes, it kind of felt that he decided to kill them in the 5 minutes that lead up to it. Before the 5 minutes, he was trying to like convince them to his point of view or something, right? It's just he didn't have any choice when he did what he did.
Yeah, although I mean, he obviously set up the situations, especially the subway thing. I mean, that was obviously set up so that he could do that if he wanted to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true.
But there's a clear difference, though, because in the US House of Cards, the journalist clearly has his number, so he has to kill her or he will be exposed. Whereas in the UK version, which I guess I'm going to spoil now, the journalist Mattie Storin says, "I won't reveal your secrets," and she's so obsessionally, weirdly in love with him, you kind of think she probably won't. But he takes a kind of malicious gleam, thinking, you know what, this is 50-50, but fuck it, I'm going to kill you anyway.
Yeah.
And so it's not entirely out of need. It's a little bit out of malicious pleasure as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what do you guys think about his relationship with his wife? It's very interesting. Like these two guys are like perfectly suited to each other. And does this happen in the UK version too? Because in the UK version, I don't think the wife character is this much more elaborated, right? I mean, here they show us she's running a charity and things like that. Even with the Peter Russell character, it's much more elaborated. Does it happen in the British one too? Do they expand on those things?
Well, it's slightly different because in that era of British politics, wives wouldn't have had careers, especially in the Conservative Party. So she's definitely totally aligned with Francis. She definitely knows all about his affairs, and she's the one who urges him to have an affair with the journalist to get her on side. But she doesn't have the career, and there is no kind of side love affair that she has, or the whole kind of concept of the sexual assault and all that kind of stuff. That isn't there at all. But she's definitely a Lady Macbeth figure. And they also don't have children, which again in the Conservative Party of that time was as controversial as it would be for a presidential candidate today in the US.
Yeah, his relationship with Claire is sort of, I mean, I like the way that they're so perfectly suited and always so much in lockstep with what they're doing. But at the same time, it's one of the things that, and I'm not saying it was necessarily worse in season 2, but it started bothering me a little bit in season 2 that the sort of requiring more suspension of disbelief that they got along that well all the time.
Did you guys buy into the threesome? Because that was a jump the shark moment for me.
I noticed something odd when I noticed it the first time I watched season 1 also, but in season 1 when he goes back to his college and he hangs out with his 3 friends, right? With one of them he had this
there
odd
was an undertone.
Kinda, yeah, but I didn't know what to make out. I didn't think he was gay, but
I assumed that he either had experimented when he was in school there, or that he was bisexual, one or the other. But yeah, there was definitely an undertone with that guy.
Yeah. Yeah, that was nicely done. I think they just went a bit too far in second season when they did that. Maybe they should have just put out another hint or something. But I don't know why they actually just went all the way and actually showed it. Well, they did not show actually the scene.
I assume it'll pay off in the 3rd season. Like that scene from the 1st season kind of established his bisexuality for this season. I assume that they call it the Meacham or the meat, or what do they call it, the Meachsum or something? I don't know.
Is that like the name for it on the internet or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's pretty
Man,
funny.
I should have looked up Tumblr.
They call it the
Threechum. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I found that suspension of disbelief that there aren't other cameras and there aren't other Secret Service agents kind of aware that he stayed there. You know, that he's there off duty drinking, and even if they don't know what's going on in the bedroom exactly,
Yeah,
that would be an
that.
issue with his supervisor, that he's kind of fraternizing with the people he's supposed to be protecting
Well,
off
they
duty.
probably think he's having an affair with Claire, which wouldn't be as surprising.
Yeah, but it would get him off that detail, I would assume.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. I'm not sure, right? Because the only reason he's on the detail is because Frank basically went completely balls to the wall and was like, he's on the fucking detail. I don't give a shit. Because I mean, I'm sure his bosses hate him and would kick him out of the Secret Service as soon as they possibly can. But you're right. I'm not sure. Even with Frank's protection, I'm not sure. I mean, that's another suspension of disbelief thing, right? Like, I don't think that the vice president stands up and says stuff like that to the Secret Service, and they're like, you know what? This is terrible protocol, and it's hurting our ability to protect you. But sure, we'll do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah, I mean, I saw through the thing when he insisted that they wanted to stay at the same place. I kind of saw through the thing. The producers were trying to avoid building a whole new set, the Naval Observatory. They wanted to, not spend the money. I wonder, will he do the same for the White House too? He'll say, "Oh, I don't want to move on. I want to stay in my house."
We're gonna have to buy the whole block, tear it all down.
Do you guys have high hopes over this third season? Do you guys will come back, watch it, and you expect it to be better, or do you guys feel it can't get any better than this?
I was actually kind of surprised to find out that there was going to be a third season. I mean, I just watched the second season, and after that I heard that it was going to be. I mean, in the British one, it ends when he gets to the top, isn't it?
You mean when he becomes the queen, right?
Yeah, when he becomes the queen.
Yeah, I will definitely watch, but I guess, as I said, I like the first season better than the second, so my expectations are that I'll like it, but it becomes harder and harder to swallow some of it for me anyway.
Yeah. I agree with that, and I mean, basically with everything you said, I lower expectations for the third season, and honestly, if it wasn't Netflix, and they didn't release everything all in a big chunk, then I'm not sure that I would watch it. I would definitely not watch it week to week. It would just annoy me, and I would find it very annoying. But the fact that I can binge watch the whole thing in a few days makes it much better for me.
Let's talk about that. How did you guys watch it? Peter, how did you watch it? Did you binge watch or did you watch it disciplined?
Yeah, I binge watched both, in a span of a couple of days, I think.
Good man. How about you, Thomas?
Season 2, I watched one a day. For
Come
2
on.
weeks.
Michael?
Season 2, I watched 3 episodes the day I started watching it, and then I sort of watched an episode a day for about 4 days, and then I watched 6 episodes in one day.
So semi-disciplined.
Yeah, it was all over the place.
Bina, how about you?
I think I watched it all within a week, so 3 or 4 episodes a day, maybe. I mean, not a total binge watch, which is what I did with the first season.
I think I watched this the day after I came back from vacation, and I watched it all in a single day. I'm not ashamed to say this. I basically spent the entire 12 hours. It was a Sunday, 12 hours, just on the couch. And I just love how Netflix encourages it. That's how they do it. They don't oh no, the bandwidth's going to be too much, or they nothing first. That's what the clients want. That's what they do, and I really enjoy it. But that's the thing. The pace is a lot slower. They could have just. The British one is definitely from the 3 episodes I watched. I mean, they get rid of the Prime Minister within the 3rd episode itself. It happens a lot faster, and I don't know what to say, because they add a lot more depth in the in this one, the Netflix one. There's a lot more happening. It feels a bit more richer, but the pace is definitely a lot slower. And yeah, as you kind of said, Michael, it would have been really boring if they only released 1 episode a week.
I think the key sort of descriptor here is political thriller. The UK one is meant to be a political thriller. It's meant to be thrilling. This is much more like a long form drama like Mad Men. And it's just it feels like a different genre of TV. And maybe it also reflects the UK political system where you genuinely can get rid of someone in a few days.
That's right.
You have to remember that when this first aired in the UK, it was aired over 3 weeks when the UK Conservative Party was getting rid of Margaret Thatcher, like literally during the leadership contest. And she had never been defeated in a general election. She'd been Prime Minister for 11 years and she was gone within 2 weeks. So that kind of is a little bit how UK politics works. So it was art imitating life a little bit.
Okay. And I was going to say they could do an experiment with the format a lot more. I mean, the format is very traditional TV, even though they released everything in one big chunk, 1 hour, 13 episodes a season and everything. They could experiment by doing what Sherlock Holmes does, or what actually the original does, right? 90-minute episodes, and only like 4 or 5 episodes a season or something like that. I wish they experiment with the format and try find the best format that's possible.
I mean, I think it would be good if Netflix in general experimented with format. I don't know that inside the show I would want them to one season have 5 90-minute episodes and the next season to have 11 45-minute or whatever. But
yeah, not on the other side though. Not a 15-minute 100 episodes. That might be interesting.
I'd also love to know what the true ratings are. I mean, just as every other TV exec in Hollywood, I'd love to know whether viewers really did stick with it, or whether they do fall off.
Yeah, it is definitely talked about a lot. I don't know whether everybody's trying to be hip about it, or they know the net and things like that. But I definitely hear a lot more references to this thing than any other show in the pop culture, I mean.
We could talk about like this sort of new trend of Netflix doing these original series that seem to be pretty high quality and everybody's enjoying them.
Yeah.
And by high quality, you haven't watched Lilyhammer.
Exactly. And I've also watched Hemlock Grove. Lilyhammer I gave up in like first 3 episodes, but I watched all of Hemlock Grove, and have you guys seen that also?
Yeah, it was pretty woeful, wasn't it? It was the Famke Janssen werewolf thingy.
They keep recommending it to me, but no, I'm not watching that.
They'd like me to watch it.
Have you guys seen the other side of this thing? That's the Amazon's equivalent of these guys. That's the Alpha House and then the Betas. It's done a lot more. I mean, I think it's free to watch if you have an Amazon Prime account. But it's released like 1 episode a week. And I don't think they're trying to do anything as high budget as this. They're trying to do like half-an-hour sitcoms or something.
Right, yeah.
But they haven't been as successful, right?
No, I mean, I presume not. Anyway, I haven't watched. I watched a little bit of Alpha House on somebody else's Prime account one time, but I wasn't thrilled with it.
Yeah, it seemed like a funnier version of this thing.
It was basically like John Goodman, is funny and carried it to the extent that it got anywhere at all. It was on his shoulders, but
yeah. The next season should be interesting. I think they're gonna be in the middle of the primaries and things like that. So I don't know. It could either be the Storm of Swords of House of Cards, or it could be Feast of Crows of House of Cards.
But I think they have a kind of. Sorry.
No, you go ahead.
I think they have a kind of mission statement problem with season 3 though, because the whole kind of reason of existence of House of Cards Frank Underwood is to scheme to get to the top. And it's not entirely clear to me who he schemes against now. I mean, okay, some scandals might come out about him and his sexual history, but, what's he going to do? Try and like scheme against Vladimir Putin or something? I mean,
yeah, no, I totally agree with you. I was a little bit shocked that he actually became president at the end of season 2. Because I was sitting there going like, well, I mean, obviously this will continue into season 3, because if he becomes president, then what the hell is he going to do? Run for election? Like shake hands? I mean,
yeah, I assume they're setting up Jackie Sharp. I don't know who else could be his antagonist next season, really.
Yeah,
I guess they kind of established a couple Republican senators the second season, but
that's true. They did a little bit. I was just going to say, even so, I mean, then it takes it into, sort of a much more traditional political drama, right? Where it's two parties are trying to get, something done, blah, blah, blah. Whereas, if you're all the backbiting and stuff within a single party is sort of the way the show has worked so far.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they've got the kind of WikiLeaks thing, I guess, kind of.
Oh yeah, the Snowden
the
thing.
foundation
Yeah.
for, but
Oh, for fuck's sake. Are you talking about the guy with the gerbil?
Yeah.
Like gerbil. It's
I mean, I assume. I don't really know. I agree with Morty, and I don't really. I thought that the third season would be kind of the impeachment battle, or kind of Frank working through that, but to just have Garrett just kind of resign. I thought Garrett was just so unbelievable.
Yeah,
it kind of undermined the whole second season for me.
I find it hard to believe that anyone who had the guile to become POTUS
Exactly.
would be that freaking naive.
Exactly.
Yeah,
our system kind of sucks, but it weeds out people that are not capable of doing the job on some level, and he would've-
That's one of the critics.
Yeah.
That's one of the criticisms I do have about the show. I think from what the 3 episodes I've watched of the British one, everybody is a slightly gray character. Like, I mean, the guy who runs the newspaper, he's clearly out for political gain. Then some of his competitors in the parliament are also that. In the US one, everybody except for the Raymond Tucker character, everybody seems to be pretty straight. Everybody is trying to do their best, especially the presidential character, and the president's wife. Everybody is so gullible, so straight and narrow that they couldn't even conceive that this guy could be backstabbing them or something.
I was going to say, it's not even that the president's so pure or whatever that he can't imagine someone's underhanded. He's just stupid. I mean, it's not even... It's not like, oh, well, he's not used to this kind of thing for some reason, or he can't see it coming because he's too, focused on the business of running the country. He's not focused on that. I mean, he wants to get reelected and have high approval numbers and all of that kind of thing, but somehow he's just completely unable to see any sort of underhandedness from Frank.
Yeah, I mean, the guy clearly gave him a type letter saying accepting the whatever scandal that happened, right? And the presidential is just, oh, whatever.
Yeah, he does see through it eventually, but then Frank writes that letter and he just kind of completely changes his mind again. He's completely feckless, and just it's not credible to me. So
it's just so weak. I mean, that would. But actually, even early on, when Frank shows Jackie Sharp his leaves her alone with the laptop and has the folders and different people in her. I mean, come on.
Yeah, those things kind of took me out of the show, and that's why second season slightly lesser for me than the first. And also the way these seasons are ending. When first season ended, the reporters were on to him, and but then it got nicely resolved in the first episode of the second season. And now in the same thing in the second season, when Rachel escapes Doug Stamper, I'm not really worried at all. I'm like, sure, third season, first episode, it's gonna get resolved. Do you guys predict that?
I don't know.
Rachel, I can't see how she's obviously not bright enough to get away from a manhunt. So she's driving around in his car. I don't imagine she'll be difficult to catch. But I think the loss of Doug is.
If the hacker dude contacts Rachel, I guess they could hatch some kind of scheme.
And the only reporter. And the only reporter left is that Tom Hammerschmidt character who said he's going to look into it now.
I like him a lot, but...
I like that actor.
He can't be awesome. He doesn't have a gerbil.
We don't know that.
That's a good point. Good point. He could have a gerbil.
He's writing the great American novel. He's too busy to...
But this third season will be completely away from the book, right? There won't be anything in the book for them to look at and take, right?
What book?
Oh, Michael Dobbs' original.
Yeah, the first and second season had nothing to do with the book either, so I wouldn't worry about it. In the original book, I mean, can I spoil the book on this, or are you guys going to read the book?
Sorry.
Go ahead. I mean, we kind of know he's going to be the president or something, right?
No, in the first book of House of Cards, which was before the TV series, Francis Urquhart, when confronted with a journalist, commits suicide rather than being exposed. It's totally different.
What? That must have been a boring book then.
It was an awesome book, but it just ends up with him topping himself. And then when the TV show was a massive hit with its changed ending, then Michael Dobbs obviously had to go back and write 2 sequels. So like they just assumed that it was the TV ending and carried on from there.
That's so weak.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, that is pretty upsetting. Yes.
Yeah, but basically, it's the notion, right? I mean, and I guess you guys talk about this in Lord of the Rings all the time. Good always wins over evil, but in this show, evil's winning. So an ending where Francis eventually kills himself or dies or gets caught up is what we need, right?
Yeah, but it didn't matter because in the UK version, unlike the US version, in the US version, Frank Underwood's kind of like the exception. He and Claire are these exceptionally evil people around a world of feckless but rather naive and probably good politicians. Whereas in the UK version, everyone's a scumbag. So the fact that Francis Urquhart tops himself doesn't matter because in the course of the series, you've been exposed to the fact that the whole political system's rotten. So it's much darker in that respect.
I don't know. I mean, maybe it's just me. I felt like the other politicians in the U.S. version are also shit. I mean, like, there's, I would be annoyed if Frank lost, not because I like Frank so much, but just because, like, everybody else is shit too. Like, there's nobody I like. There's nobody who I would want to be running the country of the various politicians and schemers that we've seen. Like, everybody sucks.
I thought the Secretary of State was okay.
Oh, yeah.
The woman, the female one?
Yeah.
She totally backs.
Yeah, I don't understand why the president put up with that.
Yeah,
she goes against her direct orders like multiple times, and he just sits there and takes it.
An idiot.
She would be canned. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, she'd be out on her ass. That's, I couldn't stand that stuff.
You guys think the Catherine Durant character who played the Secretary of State, she's going to become his vice president or something?
Yeah, I'll be interested to see who his
that
vice
might
president
happen, right?
is.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, did he promise her that? Did he imply that to her, or was he just?
No, I don't think so. I think he just asked, we come up together, I helped you get this job here, you owe me, or she kind of knows him. I think she knows he's the scheming type and everything, so.
But she presumably wouldn't want Veep, would she? I mean, Secretary of State's a more powerful position. Or am I just being coloured by Veep?
No,
I think you're right. I mean,
depends what ultimately, if that's, if she wants to be president, I guess.
Sure.
But
although Secretary of State is probably a decent jumping off point. Also.
If you want to be Secretary of State, that's probably as high as you probably want to get, I would assume, for most people. Yeah. Hillary Clinton put aside.
But yeah, I mean, one thing is generally in media or whatever, the vice presidential position is, sort of nobody wants that, right? I mean, it's all just signing autographs with whoever won a golf tournament or whatever the week before.
I mean, it's a Tom Lehrer song, right? Whatever happened to Hubert, like Hubert Humphrey. Like, I mean, it's a running joke.
Yeah, exactly. Not worth a bucket of warm spit, etc.
Minnesota, we don't joke about Hubert Humphrey. But we hold him in high regard.
Whatever happened to Hubert Humphrey? I mean...
I don't know. his kid is around still, but Skip. But I don't know. I think
you have to use the Hubert Humphrey song as your outro music.
Yeah, might as well. We're not gonna get on Facebook,
YouTube
anymore anyway.
Have we been banned?
Your video got taken down, and because of that, we got a copyright strike, and so now we can't upload videos longer than 15 minutes. The strike will eventually go away, but I'm kind of mixed about what to do with
YouTube
anymore. Just put on very highly edited podcasts up, just like what Duncan does, or yeah.
Wow, anyways, I'm sorry.
No, it's not your fault at all, and that's why I kind of wrote a letter saying, hey, this is a commentary, this is not an actual movie. Whatever clips we use is all in fair use. It's not fair that they took it down. I think it's wrong, but and everybody's having problems with
YouTube.
Video game reviews are being taken down when the game developers don't agree with it. It happened with this guy called Total Biscuit. He uploaded a video of a game called Guise of Wolf, and he was very negative. So the game developers took it down or filed a copyright thing against it. You were negative on the Amadeus movie, right? You were good about it, right?
We loved it. We were just talking about how we thought this was like the best film ever made. Like,
I know, right?
It's probably more publicity than that movie's had in like 30 years.
Exactly. It doesn't make sense for them to take it down. I don't know what's wrong. It's
YouTube.
all messed up anyway. So, yeah. No, I don't think we were at fault at all. We did what we did.
Okay. Sorry about that.
No, not your fault at all. But that's why I'm mixed about what to do with
YouTube.
Shall we just go down to One Night Mary and what is it? Subpoena to a Senate ethical hearing?
Pushing in front of a metro car?
Oh yeah, that's a good one also. I just wanted to invite your comments on this Netflix Comcast deal. I mean, this is something I wouldn't bring up in a regular podcast, but since this is a Netflix kind of a podcast and it's on an internet thing, I wanted to invite your comments on this. So it's basically regarding the new deal that happened between Facebook,
Comcast,
and Netflix, where Netflix was being throttled by Comcast. At least 25% of its traffics were being throttled, it seems. And so Netflix decided to pay Comcast to let them have uninterrupted, reliable internet connection. And this is basically the first of its kind, at least in the US. And there's a lot of concern over net neutrality and things like that. And I just wanted to bring this up because I'm not asking anybody to boycott anything or anything like that. I'm a Comcast user, and there are very few alternatives for Comcast in where I live, so I'm not going to change from Comcast. But I just want to ask listeners, if an opportunity presents itself where you can sign a petition or whether you can support net neutrality, please do it. It's a concern, I don't think this is going to happen, but eventually down the road, Comcast might come and say, "Hey, be okay if you want to be on the internet, or if you want to reach Comcast listeners, you need to pay us a cent for every podcast or something." Anyways, I like your comments on this.
I couldn't possibly comment.
Yeah, I agree with you generally. I don't know that I'm well informed enough to say anything insightful, but sure, yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah,
I think it's a quite US specific. I mean,
it is a thing.
We're getting sort of super fast fiber broadband, and it's open reach, so it's kind of like it's not government owned, but they police who gets onto it, so that you couldn't have that situation. I think here, we're the country of the BBC, right? So it's all about fair access to shit.
Yeah, what actually happened, the chain of events that kind of led to it was a federal court ruled that the FCC, which is the US regulatory agency for all telecoms and internet and stuff, they don't have the right to impose net neutrality on the providers, considering it's a utility and not because they equated internet to telephones, and telephones had the toll-free numbers and stuff like that, where the vendor could pay for free phone calls and stuff like that, or users can call him for free. And so this Netflix Comcast thing is equivalent to that, but it's not fair because us users are already paying Comcast to give us full, complete, even access to the internet. So it's because of that, because of the FCC ruling that FCC didn't have the authority to impose net neutrality. Comcast started throttling it, and Netflix had to sign it. And it's a surprise because I would think Netflix would be the one to come out and fight for it. Maybe when Comcast starts throttling Google or YouTube, maybe then Google will actually fight it probably.
That makes a lot of sense from Netflix's point of view. It's another way in which you can compete, like against Amazon Prime and other people. Hey, you can get us with uninterrupted service. And I think it makes total sense from a private sector point of view. The internet sort of bandwidth is just another commodity like oil or water, and it's something that people will pay for and people will pay for differentially. Sadly, that's the reality of it. I want it, but I think it's a little bit naive to think it'll last.
Yeah, I mean, it used to be around in a different way. Comcast has its on-demand thing, and Comcast has a bandwidth cap, but it doesn't impose it. In some areas, it has a 200 GB download cap, but it doesn't impose it in most of the areas, but in heavy traffic areas, it does. And when you watch something on Comcast on-demand site, it's not counted towards the bandwidth cap, but if you watch Netflix, it is counted towards it. So as a user, you'd rather watch a movie on Comcast rather than Netflix. But that's kind of okay. It was iffy and all that, but this is clearly a bad thing. It's kind of extortion, and it's not a good thing at all. It will really hurt us if they start doing it more. And eventually it comes down to podcast of Ice and Fire and us. It'll be a scary thing. We can't afford to pay everybody in every country, every ISP in every country, to give us uninterrupted access to their clients. But anyways, that's my mini rant. Let's get back to the show and let's do our one night marry or get pushed into metro, or get pushed in front of a metro. So let's start with Kevin Spacey, Francis Underwood, one night marry or kill yourself.
Well, I don't want to kill myself.
Yeah. Can it be a threesome here, or does it have to be?
See, that's what I wanted to do too, because I think I would make a terrible husband for Frank. But but also like a one night thing, I'd be worried that I might get pushed in front of a train later. So yeah.
I also don't think I would make a good first lady because I would much rather be president. So I wouldn't want to be number 2.
Okay, so yeah, let's add Robin Wright, Claire Underwood into the mix also. So would you have one night marry or kill yourself with both Kevin Spacey and Robin Wright? I'm actually tempted to say one night, yes.
Yeah, I would say one.
With both of them?
Oh yeah. I mean, just at least just for Robin Wright thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I'd be happier with both of them than I would be with either of them separately.
Yeah,
I think.
I agree.
Just because I couldn't keep up, I wouldn't have any desire to try to keep up with either of them on their own. Whereas if I'm basically a totally unimportant third party, then I feel like I might get out unscathed.
I would marry Robin Wright and have her as my first lady because she would be an awesome political wife. She would support me in everything and be, yeah. So there you go.
Princess Bride, man.
Of course,
how can you
if
say
I
no
came,
to that?
if I was married in a gay relationship with a female first lady, I probably wouldn't be able to get elected in the United States.
You aren't born here, so
That's a good point. Yeah.
you would have to.
Actually, I have dual citizenship, but yeah, I'm not born there. I can run from most things, but I can't be president. I used to say though that I love Arnold Schwarzenegger so much that if he were ever to sort of campaign to have the Constitution amended so he could run, that I would take up my US citizenship just so I could campaign for that.
Okay, let's go with Doug Stamper. Too creepy?
Yeah, too clingy. I would in front of a train.
Yeah, I think at this point I would too. I really liked him in the first season. He was awesome, but in the second season he was just creepy and really sort of pathetic. I was disappointed with Stamper in the second season.
Yeah, it felt like the entire Rachel arc was just created for him, right? I mean, there was no need for him to kind of be protective of her or keep her away or something. Nobody would have noticed her.
I think it was meant to be this great tragic arc that he's going to be forced to kill the woman that he's falling in love with, but it was just so weak.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just pathetic. Yeah, it was really bad. It was just really bad.
Weak, yeah. Yeah, I would rather take a brick or a rock. I would rather get hit by a rock than spend a night with Doug Stamper.
You would rather have one night with Kevin Spacey than, yeah.
Okay, the next on the list is President Garrett Walker.
Yeah,
I'd have one night with him. He's good. He's like reasonably good looking and banal. It's better than topping yourself.
Yeah, I suppose that's true. And probably, if you just do a little reverse psychology, you could probably get made. You could probably become ambassador to the Czech Republic or something.
I mean, he's good company, but he's an awful president. I mean, really, all he did in the show was just scream and yell at people to get stuff done, and he didn't do anything at all.
Ooh,
I'm
apparently
leaving,
John
Mr.
Kerry's
President.
going to Ukraine tomorrow, so it looks like everything's going to be okay now.
no
Yeah, he
comment.
did really well in
I
Israel,
couldn't
right?
possibly comment on that either.
Key that up nicely for you.
Okay, Meacham.
I guess.
You just don't know where he's been.
Oh, that's a good point. Still probably one night, but
Yeah, I'd say one night.
I'm assuming any Secret Service guy's going to be like relatively buff.
yeah.
Yeah,
Although
yeah.
he's not really Secret Service, is he?
Well, He was.
I mean, technically, he was Capitol Police or something lame.
But he was in the military before that, so and he spent some weeks in Afghanistan too. So
Could I give him the? I was gonna say something, but I'll let it go.
Oh, go on, say it then. Vic's never that. You can't leave us hanging like that.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Like Claire in the first season, she just gives a hand job to that one guy in the hospital. Can we just do that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, add that to the list. Pity hand job.
Deathbed hand job, is that on the list?
Yeah,
It's
that's
any other kind
fantastic.
of hand job than a pity hand job, because if you don't have pity, you probably I'm not even going to go there now, this conversation.
oh, by the way, looks like everybody forgot we have the Peter Baelish option also, but you can only use it once per podcast or something. There's that.
What is that? Fall in love with
Oh.
their daughter? What's the Peter?
No,
Baelish?
no, marry and then push them out of the window.
Oh, I
next
see.
day, out the door the next day.
I would use that on the president, I guess. I would use that.
But it's not worth it, because, if I marry him and I become first lady, then I push him out of the window. I'm no longer first lady. It's not like I get to be president in his
Yeah,
stead.
no, I totally agree. I think
Service, though.
Yeah, you're basically comfortable the rest of your life at least.
But it's about power, Vic.
to be comfortable,
I could have stayed at home.
to be comfortable for the rest of your life, all you have to do is sleep with him once, and then on your way out, be like, "Hey, I really don't want to be the ambassador to to Fiji
Ukraine.
or whatever. I really don't want that at
That would
all."
be the Vatican.
And I'd be like, "You're gonna be the ambassador."
Okay, the chief of staff character, Linda.
Linda Vasquez. But she's not even chief of staff by the end of it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. She's only the doorkeeper or the gatekeeper or whatever he says.
I'll be interested in who his chief of staff is, too.
Yeah, actually, that's a
With
good. with
I
Stanford.
assume, was that Doug's position, I assume? Or
I think
not?
that was basically Doug's position. Yeah.
He should make it Jackie Sharp if he's wise. Keep your
Wow.
enemies closer.
I don't know if somebody would drop out of a leadership position in the House to be chief of staff.
I don't even think she'd take vice president. But
Yeah, but you have total control and access to the president. So it's one of those jobs that sounds unimportant, but actually is
No,
incredible.
I mean it is. I'm just saying I'm not
except-
100%, but
except Frank is the president. And
Yeah, that's
I don't-
true.
You're not going to control him, I don't think. But
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what's the name of the guy who found Claire's abortion diaries and stuff like that?
Seth Grayson.
Seth Grayson. So that.
Ooh, he's creepy. I love
Right, he'll probably
Yeah.
become the chief of staff then.
Yeah, I mean I'm
be
not
like
sure.
press secretary, I would think.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
Doug Stamper
more-
would be the chief of staff, but he's gone.
Yeah, but
right?
Stamper was used to. I mean, like Stamper had been doing that for a while, whereas Grayson, I don't feel like is as much a manager of other people as sort of an operator on his own. I don't know. I mean, he might wind up being chief of staff, but I'm not sure that that's what I would put him at.
I could see Remy May doing it. I don't know. If
Ah.
that makes sense, but
Yeah, I could see that.
Hasn't he sort of burned those bridges though?
So just like we think Jon Snow is alive, do you think Doug Stamper is alive too? He'll come back as a zombie next
Yeah.
season.
Yeah, that's plausible.
Unless they really do. See, that I think that would be excellent for Netflix if they would just pick up the third season with a zombie invasion. Like they just sit down and realize that they don't really have anywhere to go with the storyline the way it is. Just bring Stamper back as a zombie and see how things go.
That would be brilliant, yeah.
Oh, dear.
Okay, Christina Gallagher, the Peter Russo's secretary.
that's
Oh, she's cute.
for me.
Yeah.
She's an
the
idiot.
best.
Well, she is stupid.
But she takes care of people that are.
Yeah.
I think she's great. She'd make a perfect wife.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say so. She was really good to him, and then
Oh my god, you would marry her?
She's, yeah, I think so.
I'm not
She was
saying it's
pretty
I'm
good.
not saying it's an astute political move, but she's nice and seems to be loyal and
I think
kind.
she's competent, and I
Yeah.
don't think.
Okay, next is Remy Danton.
I guess he supposedly doesn't do one nights, right? But
Yeah. Yeah,
but
that was-
if that option is available, actually, I mean, shit, I'll marry Remy. I'm no threat to anybody, so I don't think he'll be inevitably called upon to destroy my career. So I think it'll be fine.
He'll destroy her career, but he'll be sad about it.
Well, that's what's important. As long as he feels bad about destroying my career.
But yeah, that was interesting though, because in the first season he makes a pass at Claire, but so I was kind of surprised that he's not this flirting kind of type thing. So I think they changed it.
Yeah, I think that's just inconsistent.
Okay, Rachel Posner character.
God, she is good looking.
It's one night.
Yeah,
She's
it's one
crazy.
night. She's absolutely out of her mind. Yeah.
I think if it's kind of Rachel pre sort of, like evangelical Christian sort of reform moment, like just slutty old school Rachel, yeah.
I don't mind. I don't mind any version of Rachel. It's all
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, she reads to you.
Yeah, but if it's one night, then the whole mission statement is fun, right? It's not to sit around singing Kumbaya.
Well, I don't think. I mean, even that Christian thing. I mean, I don't think that was really hitting her
Yeah.
that deeply. I think it was just that
It's
girl.
lonely, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
She was just looking for a companion. Yeah.
Yeah. And her friend. It was just like if she had, run into, Kyle that night or something, she'd probably be really into a Song of Ice and Fire, right? Instead of.
Oh, that's what Kyle would do. Oh, there's a meetup, a Song of Ice and Fire.
Exactly.
That's pretty
Do you
good.
think that's the way to Kyle's heart? Just like feign massive love for the Song of Ice and Fire, and you're in.
Yeah, at Kyle, I mean, they were all did with the same thing. Okay, so the Lucas Goodwin character, that's the editor from Herald.
Oh, that guy's such a fucking. Ugh.
He's so whiny.
He's
Yeah,
he's
he's
incredibly whiny and
it's-
stupid, and God,
It's
I
like he's
think
not
I would-
even bad looking, but he would just bore you to freaking tears.
yeah, I think
mean,
I would jump in front of a train.
If you want to talk about pity hand jobs, I mean,
Yeah.
there's no.
Yeah, I would take a rock to the back of my head.
Yeah, he's pretty awful.
Did you guys feel this when the reporters were on him and they were finding out? Did you guys also, oh, you annoying reporters, oh, you damn kids, if it wasn't for you? I mean, I was actually rooting for Frank for the most
It
of
was
the
very
part.
Scooby Doo. If it wasn't for you pesky kids.
Yeah, I was definitely. I mean, Frank is the only person in the show that I have any real I don't know.
Connection.
Yeah, connection is probably the best word.
Mhm.
He's the only person that I have any interest in, particularly. Like everybody else can die, I don't care. But
yeah,
I like.
yeah. He felt the most authentic and stuff like that. Everybody else was just too clean, something. Yeah.
Everybody else is too something. Like they're different somethings, but they're all too whatever it is.
Yeah, like Zoe Barnes' character. Okay, let's move on to Zoe Barnes' character. I mean, she was all for it, all for all the secrets, all the stuff. And then when she had a career and stuff like that, then she started being snob-nosed about, oh, what's up, what's this, what's that. So Zoe Barnes, marry one night or kill yourself.
It's one
Kill
night.
myself.
I think one night. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
Leaning towards kill myself, I guess, but one night.
Same thing one
It's
night.
very buddy boiler. And, I think she didn't luck out. Like, you wouldn't want to be Rooney Mara's sister, but I feel bad for Kate Mara because she's just not as pretty. Ow. But, yeah. How about you, Vic?
Oh yeah, marry and one night, and if I can
Marry,
get some
Jesus.
pictures also, so that'd be good.
Oh.
Okay, we're not going to do the Raymond Tusk character. Please no.
We should do Claire's ex-lover.
Oh yeah, the photographer guy
Yeah.
Yeah, one night.
with the British accent, right? Or was it British accent or something else?
Yeah. He's like a semi-famous British actor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I liked him in the second season. I didn't really care for him in the first season, but
Yeah, you can only be around him for 48 hours.
Yeah, I liked him. Definitely one night I was trying to decide whether he'd be worth marrying or not.
I think the only problem with him is when you're taking a shower, he's going to take your pictures.
Well, the invasion of privacy thing would be a bit of a problem, I guess.
Do you have body image issues, Vic?
how about the
This is
Jane
definitely
one?
the most dodgy podcast we've done today in terms of.
We're almost there. We got a few more. We'll stop at Freddy, I think. Okay,
Oh,
next is the Jane Skorsky character.
Uh,
Right? I mean, she was the one who
Towards-
kind of pushed for the investigation, and then
Yeah,
after that, she just ran to her mom.
Yeah, I guess
lean
the train
towards
is pretty
Mary.
quick.
Hmm. Yeah, I would say one night though, but yeah, nothing more than that.
Yeah, that might be a pity hand job kind of a thing. It's not worth throwing myself in front of a train to avoid, but I really didn't. She was mean. I didn't like her. She wasn't very nice.
Yeah. She actually didn't support the journalist guy, right? The
Yeah, I didn't like
looking
that
character. She sold him out.
I didn't like that at all. Because
Well,
they portrayed her as kind of a tough journalist in the first season, and then she kind of just
She folded really quick.
Yeah.
Hmm.
There were a lot of people that they just decided they weren't going to be interested in. So I think she was
Yeah.
one of them. And I think the other storyline that was so major in the first season was this woman who was going to sue Claire at the charity, and then suddenly
Yeah,
Claire
and
folds
then-
and just
Oh,
gives
yeah.
her charity.
Right.
It's like, so it just made me feel all the way through season 2. I'm not going to get invested in these storylines if you're just going to
That's
fold them up.
absolutely. Yeah.
Just really weak.
No. I
Yeah,
thought
another
it was pretty
thing-
satisfying how they ended that plot line, but I understand where you're coming from. I thought showing Claire to be that kind of ruthless and kind of, using her doctor and using that other woman to just kind of destroy that one, to destroy that person that was suing her. I thought that was pretty good establishing Claire for the season, but
Actually, can we talk
Actually,
about this?
so-
Because I understood it differently. I thought she only went to the doctor and pretended to be interested in getting pregnant to find out about that drug.
yes.
But
Yeah.
Veena, you think she actually wanted to get pregnant, but then changed her mind after that incident, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So, Bina, you think before she went to the doctor, she was thinking about getting pregnant?
Yes.
Huh.
Do
Okay.
you guys
I
think
mean, I definitely felt like she started having some, no child regrets or whatever. But I also thought that the visit to the doctor was purely for the other thing.
Oh, I didn't even catch that.
Yeah, I think it works both ways. Both of them make it very interesting.
Yeah, I just thought that she sort of gave up on it because she sort of felt that she was such a horrible person after giving that speech. But if she was just information gathering, that I didn't even think of that.
I think she was just getting information on that drug so she could work the
Yeah.
system with the health insurance. And
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
there was no lead up at all to her wanting to get pregnant. It just sort of
Well,
came out
no,
of
there
nowhere.
was in the first season she was sort of like to be around the Russo's kids.
I
And
guess that's true.
Came up there too.
Yeah, in the first season, it was Frank who says that he doesn't want kids because he had an unhappy childhood. So, kind of was like she probably was iffy, but Frank was pretty much certain 100% that he didn't want to have kids, and so she's probably regretting it now, or probably something.
Yeah, in a few ways. I mean, yeah, she is a little bit weaker. Isn't really the right word, but she's not as hardline about some things as Frank. Like things get to her. I think. Like I guess she's less of a sociopath than Frank.
Yeah,
Just a bit.
Breakdown at the stairs
Yeah.
where she sort of
Yeah,
quickly
exactly.
collects herself. But what was that after? It all sort of blurs together for me. Was it like
Yeah.
so
I
after
can't quite remember.
she kind of has that where that Megan girl tries
Yeah,
to commit
she has to-
suicide, and then the first lady calls her and tells her what a good person that Claire is. I think all that just kind of got to her
Yeah.
Yeah.
because she knows she's not a good person, and she knows she's kind of wrecked all these people's lives along the way. And I think she knows that Frank's going to prison at that time, and that it's all been
She's
for
worried
nothing.
about it at that point, probably. Yeah.
So that's when she goes to Frank and kind of where he's kind of at his bottom, and she tells him, you got to make the president change his mind, basically.
Yeah.
And that's when Frank writes the letter. So I thought that was very, very well done, that whole part.
Yeah, I agree.
Without kind of just saying it, they just kind of showed it all. It's very well done.
Yep.
Yeah. So let's see. Did we do Zoe Barnes' character? Did you guys say what you wanted out of her? That okay. And we
Yeah.
went to Jane Sarkowski
That is to say
character.
nothing out of that.
Yeah, it's leaning towards kill myself, but
Okay, how about Jackie Sharp character?
I would like what she wants, which is just kind of unencumbered sex without marriage. Is that an option too?
I think that's very much the definition of one night.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I want
she's all for it.
I want serial one nights with her.
Yeah, I suppose that would be a one night, or maybe serial one nights would be my choice as well.
Yeah, same thing. I would say one night.
What do you guys think about the tattoo? Speaking of her, do you think that other than the whole sort of as a substitute for cutting herself, the pain thing. Other than that, do you think that the tattoo itself symbolizes something, or
aren't poppies?
I was wondering if every time she puts a flower on it, it's like she drops something.
That's what I was thinking too.
Yeah, it's like a prison tattoo, kind of, almost.
Yeah. I hadn't thought of it quite that way, but yeah. What were you going to say about poppies afterward?
Well, aren't poppies symbolic of death and war death to begin with? So I think it's kind of something she started when she was. No, I don't know what branch of service she was in, but
in the, I want to say army, but
yeah, it felt like drone strikes or something.
Yeah,
like
would that be Air Force or
that
Army?
Would be Air Force,
but,
yeah.
So I felt like when she had done something she felt awful about, that she punished herself.
She added another flower kind of thing.
Something too that she always had to look at. And
yeah, I thought it was an easy design where you can keep adding flowers and stems like that. There are not too many designs where you can keep doing that. You can't have a man booty tattoo and every time someone has a skull drawn. Or maybe that might work actually. Okay, Peter Russo character.
One night, that guy's hilarious. Like, he would do all manner of dangerous
that's a good
substances.
Point.
He'd have some craziness, and then he would leave him. Yeah, just one big party night. It'll be like being with the Rolling Stones for a night. And actually, I just want to, in a semi-serious moment, just give a shout out to Peter Russo, who the actor Corey Stoll, who I thought did an amazing job in season 1. I thought he was the standout actor of that season.
That's why I like the first half of the season first season so much, because I thought he was very interesting, and I guess I realize now that he had to die, or he had to at least destroy himself, but he was my favorite part of the first season too.
Yeah, definitely a very good character. We kind of really saw what Frank was doing to him all the toll, he was basically playing with him, toying with him, and the toll it was taking on him. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's a good person too, right? He wanted to do the best for his community. He had his flaws, but
he's an addict, so he's ultimately too weak to do what he wanted to do.
Okay, we'll wrap it up with the Freddy character.
He's another guy from The Wire.
Yeah.
I might marry him just to get ribs every day.
I don't know. I'm not sure that I want to tie myself financially to him.
He's nuts.
But I liked him.
Yeah, what was the deal with it? The franchisee thing, they added it or removed it just to show what. That was another unnecessary plot arc, I thought. Because Frank did not have anything to do directly with his up downfall.
But he was the catalyst for it.
Yeah, it was sort of just showing the kind of chaos that trails behind Frank, even when he doesn't do something intentionally. Yeah.
Isn't it just that Jodie Foster always wanted to direct an episode of The Wire?
Yeah, Robin Wright and Jodie Foster both directed one episode of the second season, right?
I didn't notice which one that Robin Wright had directed, but I did notice the Jodie Foster one. What about the First Lady? I'm kind of a Joanna Going fan, so I'd like to get the First Lady in there.
Okay, let's do the First Lady. I don't know her for anything else.
Hello?
Oh, yeah, I'm still here. Oh, she's in Mad Men, of course.
I think I'm trying to remember
which... Is she in Mad Men? Who is she in Mad Men?
So, Adeline, it seems, and she was in the episodes from 2013. The Better Half and To Have and To Hold.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
So what do you think was going on in the president's marriage that he was... Because it seemed like there's something they were talking about where they didn't want their kids to find out or something.
I think she thought the president was having an affair with the Christina character.
She didn't really think that, though. I mean,
She was just being very juvenile. She was like, I
Yeah.
want you to like talk to me all the time and be close like we were. And he's like, I'm running the country, bitch.
yeah, and I mean, I'm sure, being first lady is a strain on the marriage. I mean, I'm sure that that's true, but yeah, I don't really feel like they had any kind of specific problem. I don't know. Did you guys feel like they had some specific thing going on?
No,
Well,
I don't think so.
It
They seem to be
seemed like it was-
referencing something, but it never paid off, so I guess not.
Yeah, that was a bad arc. They just needed to create a scandal, so they needed this to happen, that to happen. And it's bad how these writers always write the wife. It's very hard to not make them come off as nagging or something. That's what they did, a nagging housewife, which is bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, you either have to do something like Claire Underwood character where you are all for it, she's all for it, she's part of the team, or you do the nagging wife character.
Well, I thought Christina was pretty good with Russo as kind of
Oh
support
yeah.
and kind of running stuff. But I don't know. I liked her character a lot the first season.
Yep.
Yeah, I liked her in the first season.
Anybody else we missed out? Unless you want to do Tom Hammerschmidt character.
I would marry Tom.
Great hair.
Oh, what about the hacker guy?
Oh yeah.
Whenever I see him, all I can think of is his character from Sunny in Philadelphia, where he plays this very incestuous, creepy character.
He's a creepy looking person.
I mean, he's just creepy looking. I don't think there's any way around that. But it seems like he might have some money, right?
Seemed rich, yeah.
And he's going to be going to prison for 150 years, so it might be worthwhile to marry him.
For the money.
Yeah, he
What's
can
that?
make your AT&T bill go away.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to comment on during the show, whenever they bring up companies, they don't hide it. They do say Google, they do say Amazon, they do say AT&T. I thought it was nice. It's kind of like the show taking digs at the Netflix rivals.
I hadn't noticed that.
I
Like,
noticed that they actually
like
used YouTube, like when they did the sort of
Oh, the
stupid
Frank
statement refix. That was great. Like the IOU thing.
Yeah, they did the YouTube thing for that. And also when Claire Underwood was trying to hire that person, right, the Gillian Cole character, she said, she says, I was offered a job by Larry Page, and it was only to make me fill their diversity quota or something. Then also he was inaugurating the library, right, from his college, and he said, everything in this library can fit in a Kindle.
I just want to say my favorite scene was when Robin Wright's character was going through the photographer gate, and Frank was working from home, and he calls the president, and he's like, "I'm working from home today." Meanwhile, he's like painting his Civil War figurines. I just thought that was a hilarious statement on working from home.
Okay.
I just think my favorite, it's not even a favorite scene, it's a favorite word, and that word is peachoid. Thank you, House of Cards. Thank you for that.
Had more peaches than Game of Thrones has in it now.
It's true.
By the way, none of you said that used the phrase, so all of you fail.
I used it twice.
After
You used it?
Yeah,
Okay,
I
then
said it a couple of times.
I said it at least twice.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
he did it so subtly, Vikram, that
It was I used it in context.
exactly.
Well, if you're lying to me, I'm gonna know because I'm gonna edit this, right?
Well, when you asked about net neutrality, I said I couldn't possibly comment.
Oh yeah, that's when you did. Okay.
I used it one more time.
Yeah, he did it at least twice.
Okay,
And
then Thomas is the
ding,
best
marry, kill.
podcaster among us all. Congratulations, Thomas. Yeah, so that's it for this week on Vassals of Kingsgrave. Some of the upcoming podcasts are Gentleman's Bastard by Scott Lynch, HBO's True Detective, The Viking Show from History Channel, then then Nantucket and Emberverse books. Then there's interest on A Fever Dream. Then there's a call to arm for Tales of Duncan and Egg, but it's already filled by 11 people or 10 people, so I don't think there's room for any more. But come check us out.
Yeah, and then there's the full cast recording edition.
Yeah,
two of those.
for King's Mood, and I think there's a lot more slots left, right?
Yeah, I think the stanza chapter might be pretty full, but I think there's quite a few on the King's Mood.
And then the Jamie chapter from Feast for Crows, there's a full castle for that also.
No, we recorded that last week. It's Katie's editing now.
Oh, it's done? Okay, that's pretty cool. And Bina, you said the soccer one is already done?
Well, we recorded it, and I think Linecom 1 is editing it, but it's the first time he's edited, so it might take a while.
Okay. So there's a call to arms for Mulan. Then there's a call to arms for the discussion on Boiled Leather Audio Hour. So it's a podcast on a podcast in a podcast. So check it out. And then Bina, have you already done the Philip Seymour Hoffman tribute thing?
No.
Okay, so there are slots for that also, and then also on Twin Peaks and all the.
Oh no, we recorded Twin Peaks.
Oh, Twin Peaks also done? Okay, good.
I think Lady Grey is editing that, which might take a while.
Griffin.
Cool.
Griffin, sorry. God, that was really insulting, isn't it?
And are you
too many
done
ladies.
And then are you done with all the Lord of the Rings stuff, or is there one more Lord of the Rings left?
Oh, Jesus Christ. There's about 18 Lord of the Rings left. I thought we were nearly at the end, and now these guys want to do like 32 podcasts on the Silmarillion. So,
And the Hobbit. And Unfinished Tales.
Are you guys going to do Silmarillion?
apparently so. So apparently this epic Lord of the Rings thing is not going to finish probably till like the next Hobbit movie is out. So.
I've been really enjoying them, so good.
Well, feel free to come on one or two of them. We're going to.
Well, I don't know anything at all. I know less than anyone else. So.
But that's awesome because like Nadia and I never know anything about the Silmarillion or anything.
Yeah, I like to leave that to other people. So.
Yeah, I know. I actually know more about Lord of the Rings than about the U.S. Constitution, so. But that's not much.
If I had to take a test on one or the other, I'm not sure what I would choose. I think I might take the U.S. Constitution, but it wouldn't be by much.
I'd also just like to say to everyone who participated in VOK Frozen that I will edit it, and I feel really bad, but I will get around to it.
No, looks like we have a podcast to release every week this week, so yeah. So really, guys, thank you for making VOK such a successful thing. I mean, I'm so glad that we have so many good regular editors now, and yeah, it's awesome. So that's it for this week, guys. Thank you for joining us. Have a good one. Bye.
Thank you for having me.
Yep,
Thanks.
very fun.
Yeah, thanks for organizing. Bye.